Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I'm excited to finally be bringing you my Week 9 game from Season 3 of the Pokemon Premier League. Yes indeed. Now, first thing to mention, I am very sorry about the massive delay to this video. I know this should have been out ages and ages ago. Weeks have gone past since this should have been out. Main reason that it hasn't been out. Now, if you sort of know what's been going on with me at the moment, you might have seen occasional rants on Twitter. If you've been in a call with me, you'll know what's going on. I have been suffering from catastrophic internet failure over the past sort of several weeks. It has been absolutely unusable. Like, I have not been able to do anything properly. I'm dropping from calls left, right and centre. I can't stick on YouTube long enough usually to upload anything, and in the past few days it then started interfering with my recording itself. So I'd be recording and it would just cut occasionally. It would cut the audio, but it would not cut the screen. So tiny bits of audio would just be left out, and that would build up, and I'd get the delay and lag. It was unusable. I couldn't do it. However, that issue has now been fixed. I've got a groovy little white box over there. We tried wireless, we tried wired, none of it was working, so we've gone proper old school. We have gone USB. We've got a very powerful USB signal receiver going on here, which seems to be doing the job. So, fingers crossed, that is a nice sort of it was originally going to be a short-term fix, but you know, now it ain't broke, why fix it even more? So it's working for the time being. Let's hope it stays that way. But what it means is I can now record again, so we are going to go into this game against RTK and the Portland Timburrs. Now, if you want to see a really in-depth analysis of my team, the team builder video will be in the description, so you can see my thought process going into this game, the mons I bought, the sets I brought, the spreads, everything you need to know will be in that video down in the description. Of course, also down in the description will be RTK's links. Make sure you check his channel out. He is a very underrated battler in my opinion. He puts together some really nice teams. Yeah, you know, constantly a thorn in people's side when it comes to league play. But very briefly, I've got sort of bulky Mesprit with a little bit of special attack investment, agility Parasect, we've got super duper powerful Blaziken, we've got a specially defensive Kabutops with a rocky helmet, we've got Assault Vest Tornadus, and my very special speedy Sylveon. Now, RTK's team, going from left to right, as you will see, he has got the Greninja, Rotom Heat, Bisharp, Gardevoir, Mega Medicham, and Vileplume. No Donphan, no Milotic. I was expecting those two in place of Bisharp and Vileplume. I was fairly happy not to see Milotic. This is the second season in a row where I've been worried about RTK's Milotic and he hasn't brought it against me, which begs the question, RTK, why'd you snipe it from me in the first place, huh? Jeez, it's just incredibly selfish. But yeah, this is a team that I was not entirely expecting, and it's looking as I predicted that he's not going to have Hazard Stack. I'd actually forgotten, incidentally, when I was mentioning his rock setters, that he also has Bisharp that can set rocks, but I didn't expect that at all. But yeah, the Mega Medicham is there, so Mesprit is going to have to be putting in a ton of work this game. Also, once again, you'll notice that we are on Showdown. Again, this is because I couldn't get internet to my 3DS, it just wasn't working. You'll also notice I don't have my usual avatar. That is because I was using a different computer. I had to use my parents' computer because my one, I'm literally only room in the house that does not receive perfect internet connection wirelessly. It receives a call. So I had to use a completely different computer, which is why I don't have my usual avatar. But that's all random details that you don't need to know. Anyway, that is the reason we're on Showdown. That is the matchup against RTK. So without any further ado at all, let's get right into this battle and see exactly how things played out. So, I'm going to be leading with my Kabutops, Old Man Tops making his debut, as RTK is just going to lead with his Mega Medicham. Not a matchup I like in the slightest. I am just going to go straight out into my designated counter. That is going to be the Mesprit. Nothing I can do about him Mega Evolving. He has nothing to fear from Kabutops at all, and he's just going to go for the Fake Out. So I could have left Kabutops in to get Rocky Helmet damage, but I didn't want to run the risk. Now, RTK is going to see exactly how little that damage did, and he's not going to want to stay in, I know this. He's going to want to get the hell out of dodge and go into his Bisharp to try and counter me, but Mesprit is going to get out there as well, go for the U-turn, and I'm going to be able to go into something to directly threaten this Bisharp, and that is going to be my Blaziken. Now Blaziken is EV to sweep at +2 speed, means I don't have too much speed investment, so he does outspeed me, gets a crit knockoff, which does too much damage, and I go for the Flare Blitz, and that is going to take out the Bisharp. Crit didn't matter. Knocks off my Shocker Berry, no Don Fan, so that doesn't actually matter that much. However, RTK is going to be able to go into his consummate threat, the Mega Medicham. I want to save Blaziken for another big hit at least later on, so I'm going to go once again into my Mesprit, no real reason not to. I probably should have gone into Kabutops because the fake out was super duper obvious. He had no reason not to go for it. But Mesprit is my counter to this guy. I don't, again, have any reason not to go into it particularly. So RTK is going to switch out, go into his Rotom Heat this time, but once again, I'm just going to be too tricksy, get on out of there with U-turn, and Mesprit is proving to be a real problem early on, very difficult for RTK to catch and deal with. So I'm going to go into Blaziken just to try and get as much damage onto this Rotom as possible with a high jump kick, and he shows himself to be at least some form of defensive variant. He takes that very well, goes for the Volt Switch, and that's going to signal the end of Blaziken. But once again, Blaziken netting a KO this game, doing really well for me this season, and I'm able to get the initiative on RTK. So he's going to go into his Mega Medicham. Why wouldn't he? And of course, I'm just going to go into Mesprit. I have absolutely no reason not to do this. Now here is where I am going to pull a switch into my Kabutops, knowing that the fake out is coming again. He doesn't have a reason not to do this. And he's going to go for the fake out, and that is going to be some nice Rocky Helmet damage onto the Mega Medicham. At last, Kabutops doing what I wanted it to. So RTK doesn't want to take too much more of that. He's going to go into his Vileplume, but I was going to pivot into my Mesprit anyway, in case he wanted to go for the high jump kick, which I could take at this point. So I'm going to go into Mesprit, and this is a very nice matchup for me. RTK doesn't want to stay in on a stab hit. He's not to know that I'm not packing stab on this Mesprit. So he's going to go into Gardevoir to take a presumable Zen Headbutt or Psychic Psyshock, but once again I'm just going to go for U-turn. Mesprit putting in a massive amount of work, just U-turning around and just being an annoyance. So I'm going to go into something to take on this Gardevoir, and that is going to be my Tornadus. My Assault Vest Tornadus is going to go for the Sludge Wave, but because I don't have a beneficial item, this isn't going to take out Gardevoir. I leave it with a tiny sliver of HP, but I take the Moonblast beautifully because I'm Assault Vest. Now RTK is going to want to save this Gardevoir for later, so he is going to switch out and go into his Vileplume to try and take, again, a Sludge Wave. But I'm one step ahead. I am going to go for the U-turn. It would have killed the Gardevoir, and now I'm going to get this U-turn call going with Mesprit and Tornadus to get myself massive amounts of initiative. Now I go into Scizor, but I don't trust this Vileplume. I don't trust it not to have Hidden Power Fire, so I'm going to scout for it by going into my Kabutops. And what do you know? RTK shows Hidden Power Fire, as I suspected he would have. So, nice scouting from me there. Now I don't want to take a Giga Drain, so I'm going to pivot right away into my Tornadus to take that with the Assault Vest. But this time RTK does get it right. He goes for the Sludge Bomb and he gets the Poison, which is unfortunate. It means I've only got 1 or 2 hits left in me, so I am going to just go for the Hurricane here, land it, and Vileplume lives, proving himself to be Assault Vest himself. He goes for the Hidden Power Fire just in case I wanted to go into my Scizor to take a Sludge Bomb or Wave. But down goes Tornadus, but once again Vileplume, very avengable range. In comes Mesprit to do the damage. And that's what I'm going to do. I go for U-turn in case he wanted to switch out to try and preserve Vileplume, go for a Giga Drain maybe on the Kabutops. But Mesprit can get the U-turn KO, and I'm going to go into my Kabutops, as I mentioned I would. So, Kabutops is in for RTK comes the Mega Medicham, and he is just going to go straight for Thunder Punch, and that is going to knock Old Man Tops the hell out. Get a nice bit of Rocky Helmet damage, but especially defensive, Kabutops didn't stand a chance. So I'm going to go into my Scizor here, and what I'm going to do is double straight out into my Mesprit to try and scout for the potential Fire Punch, because I haven't seen his last move yet. And he doesn't have it. He goes for High Jump Kick, and that does a good amount of damage, and I'm a little bit worried. However, he's not going to want to risk the miss or my potential switch into Sylveon, so what RTK is going to do is go into his Gardevoir, which is fine because I just stay in and go for a Shadow Ball, and that's going to take out the Gardevoir. Very nice indeed, risky play with Mesprit, but it pays off. Down goes Guard, and now Mesprit is back at that range where it can possibly take a High Jump Kick from the Mega Medicham. But in comes the Greninja. And this is an interesting play. I stay in, he goes for U-turn, and it doesn't take me out because of my defensive investment. So him trying to get his own U-turn game going is not quite going to work out in his favour. In comes the Mega Medicham as I go for a U-turn of my own. And now we're going to get into a very interesting series of plays, and I am just going to pause the game right about now. I am running counts against an adamant Mega Medicham with my Scizor set. Now what I know is that when I am Mega'd, I can take a combination of adamant, max attack, fake out plus high jump kick. I know that I can take that combination of hits, and this provides me with an excellent opportunity to do something very nice indeed. So let's see what happens. I'm going to Mega up. I know that the fake out is coming my way, I absolutely know it. He goes for the fake out, does 9%, he is adamant, I'm fairly certain of this by now. But I need to take this hit because now is when the plan can come into action for me to win this game. He goes for high jump kick, I live the high jump kick, and I go for agility. Remember that crazy plan I had in the team building video? Baton past the speed into, bada boom, Sylveon at +2. Medicham is going to go for a Thunder Punch, which we absolutely chew. We eat that up very nicely. And now I'm going to go for the Hyper Voice, outspeed the Medicham, and down it goes. +2 Sylveon at speed, going along nicely. Now RTK is in a bad way, he has to go into Greninja. The only way he outspeeds me is if he is Scarfed. And what do you know, he's Scarfed, goes for Gunk Shot, but we have the Kebia Berry. We are able to go for the Hyper Voice. He's clearly, obviously, not sashed. Down goes Greninja, another KO for Sylveon at +2, which is brilliant. Now, all RTK has left is this Rotom, but it could still be a problem. So, knowing that he has to lock in on Overheat, I'm going to go for a Calm Mind here to take that Overheat and try and get off one last big hit onto this Rotom. That's what I do. In comes Psyshock. He is, of course, going to go for the Overheat again. But now I have to play quite cleverly. And I'm going to pause it as this Sylveon goes down. Rotom is at 18%. This seems like it should be sewn up. However, Rotom has only shown, I believe, Volt Switch and Overheat. At this point, I cannot be certain that he isn't an Assault Vest Rotom. And bearing in mind my Mesprit does not have Stab, and is not fully invested in Special Attack, I don't know if it can take out this Rotom from here. So, what I'm going to do is play this as safe as possible. I'm going to go into my Mesprit. And at this point, wins matter more than differential, so I'm going to go for U-turn to get that tiny, potentially game-changing bit of chip damage onto this guy, go into my Mega-Scizor to sack it off to the very obvious Overheat that's incoming. So in it comes, Overheat takes out Shears, who's done a very nice job setting up Sylveon, and now it just comes down to can Mesprit take out this Rotom? Can I do it with unstabbed Shadow Ball? Can I do it? Survey says, yes I can. The crit incidentally did not matter, he was Charty Berry in case of Stonage on Blaziken, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the game. So, what a game. Brilliant, brilliant game, RTK. Thank you very much for the battle. We take a very close 1-0 victory, just like last season. Mesprit, oh my goodness, best transfer ever. Putting in the absolute finest of work, tanking hits left, right and centre, coming out of it with 3 KOs, constantly getting me initiative. Brilliant transfer. Absolutely fantastic work by Mesprit. MVP all day, every day. Shout out, of course, to the Scizor-Sylveon combination coming through. That really helped win me the game as well, getting those crucial KOs onto the Mega Medicham and indeed the Greninja. Blaziken coming in with one as well, always nice to see. A good game, a fairly hackless game, I think, in the end, which was nice. There were a couple of crits flying around very occasionally. There was the occasional status as well that didn't really come into play too much, to be honest. So a fairly clean game, a good close game, with lots of back and forth with some threats going on all over the place. Really good stuff, and yeah, we're happy with that game. We are happy with that game. What that means is that Parasect Germain are still on course to try and get the good end to the season. That is our 2nd win in a row. Woohoo! Fantastic stuff. We're halfway there to getting those last 4 wins in the season. We are sitting at 4 and 5, which is good. We're still scrapping for this. We are still scrapping for a top 6 finish at this point, which is absolutely fantastic to hear. So, after that game, who do we face off against next to try and keep this streak alive? Well, what a game this is going to be. Next week, we face off against Kelly. Under the radar, my very good friend. I am really looking forward to this one. It's part of a double header against Kelly, where we have PPL and SMD games coming up, so that's going to be fun. There's going to be some nice sets flying around on both sides, I am sure. So keep your eyes peeled for those games and all the build up to those. That'll be coming up hopefully sometime in the not too distant future. Maybe even later this week if I can get my uploads sort of on schedule and up to date. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap things up from me. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed. Remember to check out links in the description to the PPL Twitter and YouTube for all things PPL. All the news you'll ever need to know will be in those links. Of course, links to RTK. Do please go and check him out. He's a fantastic battler. He's got some great content on his channel. He's a stalwart of the PPL. You know, he's only missed out on 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks of the first season when he took over from your boy Mighty Mammothswine. So yeah, check out RTK. You'll not regret it. Links also in the description, of course, to Titos. As ever, they'll be there because he designed the fantastic templates for the thumbnails we are using this season, so check him out as well. But, as I say, I'm going to wrap things up. I rambled on for far too long, so my final thank you to you all for watching, and I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.